Hello everybody, and welcome to Chit-Chat Tuesday. I'm really delighted to be joined this evening by the EVP King, Barri Ghai. A couple of things that I know about Barri is that he started in, I think it was 2006, the Ghost Finder Paranormal Society. We're going to talk a little bit about Barri's childhood experiences, because I know that when Barri was younger, he experienced paranormal evidence during the time himself, and there was also a little bit of a showdown later on. Also as well, we'll talk about Barri's first Ouija board experience, but also what is really brilliant as well is that Barri's also kindly sent me through a few clips which we'll share of some of the evidence, and also let you know where these have happened just before they go ahead. You know Barri mostly probably we know through Help My House Is Haunted, but also as well he started his TV career back in 2010, and the very first time I saw Barri was on My Ghost Story, and you can also see Barri on various other paranormal programs. So thank you, Barri. Thank you so much for joining. Is there anything you want to add to what I've said at the beginning here?
No, not at all. Well, thank you for having me, Paul. It's great to see you again as well. And I'm just happy to be here.
Excellent. Yeah, brilliant. Where I really like to start, and I've got some books here of my books, because it was through books that I first became interested in the paranormal, and I noticed you had some experiences as well. The wonderful book, some people might have this. Let me know if you've got this one, The Mysterious World, Arthur C. Clarke. And also got some shout outs to say of people. It's nice to see so many joining right now. And Ghostwatch, Ghostwatch, I remember that was quite controversial but a lot of fun. John Spencer and Tony Wells, but that was actually my first introduction to ghost hunting, and it's when I saw it on TV. I thought I'll have some of that. But I know that you were interested in the paranormal and had paranormal experiences. Can you talk about your first book, which was the Reader's Digest, Mysterious Unexplained, or something like that?
Yeah, I've got it here. It's Mysteries of the Unexplained. That's the first book I ever read when I was probably about 9 or 10, maybe. It's quite a lengthy book, but we didn't have much else to do at the time, I don't think. And it's just one of those books that has stories of monsters, cryptids, hauntings, legends, and things that really do freak kids out before they go to bed. But it was great. It's one of those books that got me really interested in the subject, and it wasn't just ghosts, although I kind of fell into that. I think it was all of the mysteries of the unexplained. Like I said, cryptids, and things to do with fish and frogs falling out of the sky, and ghost ships being seen, the Mary Celeste, all of these things, and it was just amazing to read it all and think, oh my God, I want to know more. And that's one of the things that helped me along in my journey.
Amazing. I was going to do a couple of shout outs to Blue Note, John Cavan. There's quite a few watching. Cowabunga, hello to you. Paula, Ali B, Sean, Pat Middleton, another Sean, Harvey, Samantha, Donna Kelly. Exploring the Afterlife, whose channel this actually is, so hello to both John and Lindsay. To Bella, I'm dyslexic, so I hope I'm getting these names right. Lynn, hello to you, my lovely friend Lynn, Lee, and there's quite a few, but I think there's also quite a few silent watchers, so do pop on, say hello, and ask Barri some questions. And we were talking about being dyslexic anyway, so if I mispronounce anybody's name, then I do apologise. So before you did the Ouija board, you had some paranormal experiences before that, and I think the Ouija board kind of upped that a little bit, and I think I've heard you say as well that you haven't done the Ouija board since. So if you can say about some of those early paranormal experiences before you and your friend was completely fine, I remember as well, but some of those early paranormal experiences that you had as a child.
Yeah, I think ever since the age of around 5, I experienced things. I remember seeing a man walking into my cousin's bedroom, looking at me, and then just turning his head and walking straight through the wall. It's experiences like that that stuck with me, and I think I realised that there was definitely something else that was otherworldly. You kind of, as a child, you watch scary films or you're reading ghost stories, and this is before I ever read, Mysteries of the Unexplained, for example. So I think I had a fascination because it was more of a curiosity, and it kind of, my early experiences, I guess, were, how to put this, smoothed over by the incredible experiences I had from the age of around 9 and 10. I mean, you talked about that Ouija board experience. Well, I went away with school friends on a kind of camping holiday. It was in the Isle of Wight, and the friend that I was with at the time, he had brought with him a makeshift board, spirit board. And we went into our log cabin and we did this game. Essentially, that's what it is. It was a game, and I thought he was moving the planchette. He must have thought I was moving the planchette, but no, we were communicating with someone who pretended to be a young boy, aged around 7. And to cut a very long story short, it was basically fear and excitement at the time that created the whole attack that I had afterwards. I guess leaving Isle of Wight, that spirit followed me. It attached itself to me. It didn't go with my friend Ollie. It came with me. I went to my house back in London, and it took around 6 years for me to get rid of it.
Wow.
And 6 years of being physically attacked. I got punched in the back, objects moving by themselves, had footsteps, taps turning on, doors opening and closing, all your classic paranormal kind of phenomena that people experience now. But it was just terrifying. But I got used to it. But the one thing I didn't get used to was having my name whispered in my ear constantly. I could be sitting at my desk, I'd be doing my homework and stuff, and someone would just go, Barry. And it would be straight in my ear to the point where, all the hairs stand up on end and you think, what's going on? And yeah, it was pretty terrifying, really. But I had to live with it. We all did.
I know, and I'm just going to say hello to Jennifer, Mark, Kelly. Oh, sorry, I said hello to Kelly. But I know there's also a question here, which I think because you're friends with Ian Norma and Chris Fleming, I think that I'll say it's from Jennifer about talking to loved ones. So I will mention that, Jennifer, a little bit later. But you actually had a showdown with the spirit, and I believe from that point that was attached to you, things got a little better then at that point.
Yeah, I must have been around the age of, say, 15, almost 16. And I remember it was summer, my parents were at work, my sister was out. I was doing something in my room, just reading or whatever. And I heard my name whispered again. And this time I got up, I remember standing there, and I felt angry and upset at the same time, a real mixed emotion. And it was around the age of 15 where I got my black belt in karate, and I felt a bit more physically empowered, mentally stronger, and able to cope with things, I guess. And I decided I'd had enough. So I just called this, whatever it was, out. And I stood in my room in, stance, ready for fighting. And I said, come on in. I said, show yourself. I've had enough. I don't want to be scared anymore, so I'm going to fight you, whatever. And nothing happened. I remember waiting for however many minutes, and I was so frustrated and so angry. I sat back down on my bed, put my hands over my face, and I actually started crying. And I cried because I was so over emotional about the whole thing that I was thinking, this is just ridiculous. So I was upset. Within a few minutes, I felt this tingling sensation. It started in my toes and it worked its way up my body. And it was almost like the fight or flight feeling that you get when you have adrenaline. But what I found interesting is something that has spurred me on with my research is that at the time, I felt like there was a lot of static electricity coming over my body as well. So it felt like a static feel. It felt like what you used to get on an old television screen. I looked up. I took my hands away from my face. I looked up, and directly in my doorway of my bedroom was black smoke that started to form into a mass, and it got thicker and bigger and thicker over a few seconds, thicker and bigger, and it looked like it was in a human kind of torso shape, but it was very, very tall, and it reached the top of my door frame. And I took a step up. I got off the bed, I took a step up, and I think I must have mouthed, what the, literally, it was like, what is that? Am I seeing something here? I was rubbing my, I don't remember rubbing my eyes, but it was that kind of feeling. And as I took a step forward, approximately 10 feet away, I got lifted up off the floor by something unseen, because it didn't move. It just felt like my insides of my body had lifted me off the ground, and I got thrown back onto my bed. Now that is a fantastical, amazing thing to happen to anybody. I wasn't hurt, but I was absolutely petrified at the thought of having no physical power to stop myself from coming off the ground. I curled up in a ball to protect myself, thinking that I was going to be attacked or whatever. Within a few moments, it passed, and I managed to look, and it wasn't there anymore. So I just ran out the room, ran down the stairs, I ran out of the house, and actually waited outside on our concrete masonette steps at the time, and sat there and waited till my parents got home. But it was after that I didn't hear my name whispered again, and I didn't feel the presence around me or in my house. I don't know whether that confrontation meant that it just decided to leave, but it didn't leave me forever. I have felt the presence on numerous occasions, I guess, over the last 20 odd years. And it's really when I'm at my lowest peak, when I'm kind of feeling sick or lethargic. It's like it will feed off me, it'll grow, it will kind of come back in strength. It's trying to get its way back in, but I won't let it, not anymore.
No, and well done for that. Hello to Gillian, hello to Amanda, hello to Miriam, hello to Claire, Lucy, Kelly, Lorna. I think there's a few more names, but they're coming up quite fast, so I do apologise if I've missed anybody. So I mean, that sounds incredibly terrifying. So I'm always curious to know, and it's so terrifying. You still have this sort of fascination. You started to go out and record. I think EVP is down at like local graveyards and things like that. Can you say about the transition from that when you were first doing your recording, and some of your first evidence that you got that you were really happy about?
Well, the first EVP I actually captured whilst I was trying to record the top 10 on Capital FM. using a cassette recorder, and it was during the same time. It was during the same time that I was hearing my name being whispered and that kind of thing. Now, for the life of me, I can't remember what it said, and I think it was my name. I tried to record this recently. I can't remember what it is, and I must have recorded over the cassette, or I've lost it. I just can't find it anymore. That was when I was around 14, 15, I think. And that, I guess that's the first EVP I ever captured, because I remember listening to it thinking, oh my God, that's incredible. What is it? And that almost led me to do as much research as I could, but I didn't know where to start because I didn't have the internet. I didn't have a mobile phone. It was one of those, at my age, I had to go down to the library and find books. So I found lots of different books. And one of the books I still have, actually. Where is it? Oh God, how did I get it out? I think it's called Voices from the Tapes, Peter Banda, and I've got a few copies of these. But the books I picked out of the library, they started to tell the story of electronic voice phenomena, and all of the practitioners, the ITC practitioners, many years before. And I was thinking, this is interesting. Maybe you can speak to ghosts, but record their voices and stuff. Anyway, lots of years later, at university, I had an experience which many people have heard before, but I saw a little girl in my room, and she must have been about 7 or 8 years old. And to cut a long story short, I decided that from then on, I'd graduate from university and I would start to develop this passion into the paranormal by researching more and actually physically going out to investigate. So you're perfectly right. I went to local graveyards and things like that, and places on my own. Took a cheap voice recorder. I had a K2 meter after a few years, which I bought off Chris Fleming, believe it or not, before I even met him.
Yeah.
And a camera, and a notepad and paper, and I recorded the sounds of voices, disembodied voices. They weren't great; they were like low-grade EVPs, but there was clearly a conversation being had in this one area. I remember footsteps. I heard the sound of a child laughing while I was investigating this abandoned building in West London, and it's really kind of spurred me on to say, I want to do this properly, but nobody gets paid to do this job unless you're lucky enough and fortunate enough to be paid to present a program to some extent. So it is one of those things. I'm very fortunate to be in a position where I can do my job I love to do, and get paid for it. So yeah.
Brilliant. So I just got, I'm sorry to jump around because I like to ask people's questions as well. I just want to say, I've seen Annie, Lindsay, and Deborah has popped up. So hello to yourself. Pat's one I want to pull up, and then we'll sort of get a little bit back to your progression. I might start showing some video clips then. Is there a place you really want to investigate but haven't had the chance to yet? So is there any one of those that you think, actually, I'd just love to get into this particular venue?
Well, honestly, there are so many places I still haven't investigated in the UK. We've got hundreds of brilliant haunted places. A lot of them, I have been to the most famous locations, I guess, but believe it or not, I still haven't managed to investigate 30 East Drive. A few months ago, I was meant to be there. My team had to go without me because I was filming. So it's just difficult. And I guess that with my schedule now, it's really hard to try and fit the time in to get to these places. But one place in particular, I'll say two places if I can. Two places I'd love to go to, both in the USA. One is the Queen Mary. I never got to investigate the Queen Mary when I was there. And the other one is Alcatraz. I mean, that would be incredible to walk around that prison and try and find them, the mysteries and the spirits that still remain there.
When doing my research, I thought you'd actually done the Queen Mary fairly recently, so I was going to actually say, how's the Queen Mary? So I'm really glad that I didn't say that one out live. Fantastic. So when you created your page, Ghost Finder Paranormal Society, you were looking into forums and things, just wanted to learn. And can you tell the development of the Ghost Finder Paranormal Society?
So back in the mid 2000s, what we're talking about, 2004-05, I started to teach myself. Well, I got a PC for the first time, a home PC, and I started to teach myself how to code. Using the forums. That was the rage back in the day. People used to chat on MSN and have these chat rooms, and they were all about different subjects. So I was a member of several chat rooms to do with the paranormal because that was a passion and interest I had, and I thought I can do this. So I just did it. I built myself a website and a forum attached to it called the Ghost Finder Paranormal Society. And it became a massive place where people from all around the world were talking to each other about their experiences. And I loved it. So I kind of thought, I'm going to develop this further now. So I have been out and investigated, but I want a team. I want to go out with other people, like-minded individuals that I can trust, and investigate places, not for profit or anything, just because I wanted to find evidence and to kind of be able to put it on the website and showcase it to the world. And it's just born from there. So early 2006, it launched properly, and still going now. So it was a great experience, and lots of different members from all walks of life and backgrounds. And my best friend Phil Measy, who's still a member of the Ghost Finder Paranormal Society, he's been with me since the beginning, and we've investigated hundreds of locations together and private houses as well.
Cool. My dear friend Lynn's been popping in and out from Facebook to YouTube. I think it's been sort of trouble with Facebook. So if you haven't heard me say hello to you, Lynn, hello to you, and I hope you're doing really, really well. So we'll now move further forward. It's kind of jumping through, and if I see any other questions, I will definitely get them up. So your first time you were on TV was in 2010 for Living TV, and that sort of kick-started lots of interviews and things. So tell us about that process. Would be really cool, please.
Yeah, I guess Paranormal Investigation Live, as it was called back then, it was a program that was over Halloween, over 3 nights, and we replaced the Most Haunted Live team, so that was a big deal, and it was a it was a challenging program. I'm going to say now, please don't watch it. It wasn't very good, and but I think, as Phil would say, it was ahead of its time. That was it, the concept, potentially. So it was 2 groups of paranormal investigators, Team Impact, and that was led by Paul Hobday, believe it or not. So Paul Hobday you would have seen him on Ghost Chasers. So Paul and his team were Team Impact, and one was GPS. And we were using technology and science, essentially. So the equipment, and Team Impact were using the more spiritual side of things. So 2 teams investigating 2 different methods around Castle Menzies in Scotland. Now, we had no knowledge of where we were going. We were just flown over there and driven to the middle of nowhere. And it was like let loose in a candy shop of this huge castle. A great place. And I'd love to go back. I haven't been back since, but it was incredible. And it did kickstart my career. I think it was from then that I got small parts on TV in other countries as well, from Israel, Japan, Canada, Germany. So I was interviewed about my experiences, and I was asked to sort of do some research on this or plan to do something with a bit of equipment. And I never in my wildest dreams ever thought that I would end up with a very successful paranormal TV show, as Help My House is Haunted has become.
Yeah, and it's really, really loved. And I will go to Help My House is Haunted in a second, but I've just pulled up this question from Claire. Out of all the technology you use, which do you think is the most accurate? And can you recommend a make or model?
Hi, Claire. Yes, no, I saw Claire recently. We were on a paranormal investigation in Sheffield Brilliant. On the weekend. So Claire, as you know, it'd probably be my trusted voice recorder. This is one of many. This model is the Philips voice tracer that's been used on Help My House is Haunted. I think electronic voice phenomena for me is the best form of paranormal evidence. I know some people would say, well, seeing is believing, video, photographs. Well, they're great, but they can be easily manipulated, and especially in this day and age of computer technology and vast graphic design capabilities. It's just, this to me is a pure form of paranormal evidence. Recording in the ether in a quiet room, asking questions, and then hearing a voice respond to your questions intelligently is just phenomenal. And you can't beat it. That's why I love what I do.
And Paula said EVPs are great evidence. Just get this one up from Lucy. Hello to you. Hello to you both. So when you investigating, what is the best way to protect yourself, in Barry's opinion?
Good question. So everybody has their own way of doing things, okay? There's no right or wrong way. It's about intent. So if you protect yourself with thought, you can ask your spirit guides to protect you. You can call upon angels. You can wear protective amulets or bracelets. I mean, I often wear tiger's eye. I wear obsidian, larkovite, things like that. And I have lots of different protective crystals that my wife has created, and she makes black salt pendants and necklaces and things, and I wear them with the intent that these are protecting me. But some people like to bubble up. They like to visualize energy surrounding them, pure white light, and that protects them, and it's you can't be penetrated by outside negative forces. I don't always protect myself, and there are reasons why not. And people think, oh, you must be crazy, you must be mad. I'll tell you why. Because on certain occasions, I really want to get in there, and I don't want any barriers. I want the spirits to be able to interact and engage with me on a physical, psychological, a spiritual level. And that's sometimes the way of getting the best evidence and the best out of your investigation. So it's a risk, and that's a risk I'm willing to take. That's not for everybody. So protecting oneself is something that everybody has to do in their own way, and there are no right or wrong way of doing these things. So I would say that smudging, cleansing oneself using sage or Palo Santo or selenite or whatever you want to do, these are all belief systems that have worked for cultures and traditions across many hundreds of years, and they're tried and tested. But you need to have faith. You need to believe that what you're doing is working, and if you believe and if you have faith and intent, then you can't go wrong. So I hope I've answered your question in a roundabout way. But yeah, I guess ask as many people as you can about their methods of protection. For myself, it's wearing protective jewelry, amulets, bracelets, whatever, and I use prayer, and prayer seems to work.
Brilliant. I know that you've come home from investigations, sometimes from Help My House is Haunted, and your wife has done a spell on you as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I walk to the door and I started getting blessed and prayed on, and it works. Yeah, definitely.
Right, let's just get this one up, and then quick question, and we'll get on because the time is going so quickly here, and then we'll try and see, hopefully, because I've uploaded and downloaded the video, so hopefully they'll play completely fine. But Kelly, have you done any investigations in Cumbria? If so, can you recommend anywhere for an amazing investigation newbie?
Well, Kelly, Cumbria, I've done Carlisle Station, believe it or not, and the Undercroft that's there. And that's very, very active and very haunted. So yeah, I'd recommend trying that. You can contact them directly. And the Undercroft is the bit that they've got this sinister energy, and presence down there. So I'm sure you'll be able to get in there. But Cumbria, great place, great part of the world.
Say hello to Robbie. Hope you're well. Charles, Sarah, and Debs, who's joined in, and Kathalina says, when you come to the States, would you consider visiting the Betty's house in
Arkansas? Yeah.
Arkansas,
yeah, absolutely. You know what? There are so many hundreds of locations, but if I get to go to Arkansas, I'll come to the Betty's house, definitely. There are so many places out there that warrant an investigation, and I'm very jealous of my colleagues and friends that live over in the States, but likewise they're jealous of us over here in the UK having some amazing historical locations on our doorstep. So each their own. I guess we have treats dotted around all parts of the world.
Remind me to ask Robbie's after I've shown the clips about any places that you wouldn't go back to. Before I show these clips, people know you from Help My House is Haunted and several other paranormal, but also as well you've got your YouTube, which is successful and popular. You do your own nights investigations and organise public hunts, and you've also got a paid page people can go to as well. So if you can mention those ones where people can get to see more of clips like this that I'm going to show. So if you can say, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So most of my clips now will go on my Facebook supporters group. So I have a Facebook page for everybody to view, it's a public page, but also have a supporters page as well. So for supporters, they get extra content. They get to see my live investigations when I do paranormal investigations on my own. Recently, I did one at the Hanbury Arms, which Paul's going to, I think, show you a clip of. And that's the best place really to reach me. But I am across all social media platforms, so if anyone's got any questions, they can reach out and ask.
So Hanbury Arms Pontypool, it looks creepy as hell. And it's if you say a little bit about it and how comes they've got all these really, because I did see a little bit of the investigation live when you were doing it. If you can say a little bit about this amazing creepy place, just before I show you the clips.
Well, absolutely. So the Hanbury Arms in Pontypool, which is in South Wales, I believe. So it is owned by Tracy and Nigel Turner, and it's a former pub, but it's got a huge history. And we're talking hundreds of years of history there. One area was a morgue, and now they've converted part of the upstairs area into a museum for haunted objects. And I can tell you now, I hate dolls. In fact, you probably already know this. I hate dolls and clowns, anything that stares back at you. And when I went to investigate in there, there were haunted dolls. There's a haunted clown. There's just freaky objects. It is creepy, and it is up there with one of the most haunted places I've been to in recent times.
I've just made a note for you, Sean, as well, after these clips. It's about the celebrity Help My House is Haunted, ones that stand out for you. So I had a bit of trouble playing these earlier for some reason, so I'm just going to do that again, and then we'll show one clip. I've kind of broken it down, Barry, and done some repeats on, in particular, the first one. And then if you say a little bit about them after. So fingers crossed this plays okay. So this is the doll.
According to Tracy and Nigel, is the most paranormally active. Whoa! The REM pod just went off, guys, in front of me. I don't know if you saw that. I know the camera was high. Emily, was that you? If that was you, Emily, please can you make the REM pod go off again? Can you make the lights flash? Can you make them go green? Awesome, thank you. So Emily's got the Alice box over there. We'll leave it running.
Yellow.
Yellow? What's yellow? Where's the yellow? Is there anything yellow that I need to look for? God, look at that. Seriously, this place is proper creepy. There's a lot of energy coming off these objects. Ooh, something's touched me. Something just touched my back, guys. If you can hear my voice, please can you speak now?
He holds me down.
What? Guys, dudes, look at this. That last response. He holds me down. Can you see that? He holds me down. Who holds you down? Emily, who holds you down?
Daddy.
What? Daddy? Daddy holds you down? Oh, this is getting creepier by the minute. Protective symbol? Is this something to protect you from, you know, the wickedness of your father, potentially? Whoa! That's confirmation, guys. Thank you. Emily, will you kindly make that ball flash for me again, please? Phil? Phil? The curtain just moved behind the doll. Where are you?
I am sat watching the screen.
No, really? Guys, did you see the curtain move? This curtain, this red curtain that's behind Emily there, it just moved. Someone stood there and moved it. Mate, seriously, was that you?
No, mate, I'm here.
Did you see that? Because if you did, I need to watch that back. Emily, will you kindly make that ball flash for me again, please? Phil? Phil? Emily, will you kindly make that ball flash for me again, please? Phil? Phil?
So it's strobing a little bit, so I do apologise. I don't know why it's strobing tonight. It's not done this before, so I apologise, everybody. So great. I don't know if anybody really saw it, but it actually seems like a hand comes out from behind the curtains. And did you get much of a story as well from the doll, or any backstory to that?
Yeah, so I mean, Emily was meant to be the most haunted doll in their museum, but it's also the same name as the spirit of another child ghost that's seen in the property. So I was trying to kind of decipher whether or not this spirit that they've seen inhabits the doll, or are they two separate entities? So I think we come to the conclusion that we're two separate entities. And I guess the only backstory is from what this Alice box and the EVPs told me, where she was being abused and possibly by her father, which is absolutely incredible and emotional, I know, but that is what she told me. And it was just amazing because the REM pod only went off at certain times, but it was only when it kind of needed to validate a question that I'd asked. So the whole thing was brilliant. And the investigation was just, well, it all went like that, to be honest with you. It went too quickly. But the hand and the curtain, I don't remember seeing the hand at the time. It was only when I watched it back, because I was like, no, I just saw the curtain move. I saw what looked like the curtain go like that, and I thought, no way, I've just seen the curtain move. Now, my friend Phil, I mentioned, was there. I did investigation alone. He's only there for safety reasons in case I have an accident or something happens to me. But he was sat on the other side of that room, in what used to be the bar area, by the windows and doors on my laptop. So he was watching the live and commenting and replying and getting rid of spammers and that sort of thing. Now, I trust him. That it wasn't him moving. It wasn't him touching the curtain. So who was it? You know, and I think a lot of my followers, especially on my supporters page, they watched it. They watched it back again, and I put the clips up afterwards. And they talked about it looked like a small hand. It looked like it could well have been a child, and it was a bit of a cheeky kind of thing to do. I just think it was incredible. I mean, who gets that stuff on a live program? It's just wow. Yeah, I'm absolutely amazing.
Yeah, really, really cool. Lots of wows coming up in the corner. And just before we move on, because to the next thing, the Alice box, because there's so many different tools similar to that. You've got like the Ovulus and puck meters and things like that. I know these, like the Alice box, if you were to go out them, they're not like the cheapest thing to go, particularly if you're a newbie to doing paranormal investigations. But what do you think? 'Cause a lot of people I know use apps which you can download straight to your mobile phones. Any of those that you think are any good, or what's your feeling about the apps you can get for phones?
Yeah, trust me, Paul. I mean, I spoke to you about this before, didn't I? And I've used a few apps recently, and I never, ever, ever wanted to use apps. And why? Because I had this idea in my head, a preconceived idea, a notion that can't work because they can be programmed, or how a spirit's able to manipulate the phonics or the word banks. But then I thought to myself, well, if I'm using a handheld device, you know, something like, I don't know, here's one, like this Paratech device, which is a word bank device, or the Ovulus 3 or 4, well, the spirits are able to manipulate those by changing the environmental factors, electromagnetic field, pressure, humidity, EMF, whatever. Well, why can't they do the same to the application, which is being run off an electrical object, a tablet, you know? So we used them, series 3, I think it was. We started using it, Help My House Haunted, and we had the most incredible results. I remember being blown away by some of the responses, to the point where I've just run out of the room going, I can't believe it. No, this is impossible. If you ask a question and you say, Spirit, could you please say my name? Can you say Barry? And it suddenly says, Barry. And everyone hears it. Well, how can you explain it? Now, some people, some very skeptical people, especially on my crew, right, they would turn around and say, Barry, you program that. It must be recording your voice and then repeating what you said. But, well, we know through many, many, many hours of practice with this device, with the applications, it doesn't do that at all. So the Alice box itself is an ITC device, which apparently works on a sort of psychokinetic level. Trust me, Alice at the moment is wow. Okay, it is an amazing kit. I've overused it. I think I'm relying heavily on it because every time I use it, spirits seem to talk to me, and they tell me their name. They tell me why they're there. They tell me, what they want, and it's just incredible. But I like to use things like Alice in combination with Paratech, which is another application that you can get, and also you can get the mini devices as well. There's different versions of this. You can use Necrophonic, which I think has been overused, and I have had some amazing success with it, but in recent months, not so good. Echovox, I love it. Why? Because that phonetic sort of banks of sounds, well, there are no full words in there. So Echovox works when it randomly sweeps through the channels A, B, C, D, E, F at different speeds, and it's never going to give you a word because there's no words in there. It's just sounds. But if you're asking a question, you'll wait to see season 4 of Help My House is Haunted. Ask a question, it gives you a whole sentence that makes perfect logical sense. And this is not just after leaving it running for 10 hours. I'm talking hit after hit after hit. Well, for me, I know they work. I know that spirits are somehow able to manipulate the electromagnetic field and communicate with me using these devices. So I'm heavily into ITC. I still use my voice recorder to get those clear, crisp, pure sounds of ghost voices. But I love to get responses to validate that using these instrumental transcommunication devices.
Cool. Let's have a look. I think Lindsay's wants to send you something, that she captured on this page. Joe says, I saw the answer to this, but Barry, are there any of your daughters following suit and interested in the paranormal like their dad?
So they're all interested. They all love it. I think they've grown up with this environment. So Freya and Isla, the younger ones, not the youngest ones, but in the middle there, they love watching all the programs, all the shows. And when I've got EVPs, I'm running through in my office, and I go, oh, I can't get it. I just can't get it, even with filtering the sound. I go, like, girls, have a listen to this. Now, their frequencies, their range of hearing is different to mine. So they listen to it, and they sometimes go, Dad, that's saying this, and they love it. They want to hear more, but I'm kind of a bit, oh no, I don't want to get you too involved yet. You're still young because they have nightmares. So, but yeah, let's hope so. One of 7 might be the next female paranormal investigator. We'll do a daddy and daughter show one day.
Oh yeah, it'd be brilliant to see, definitely. Lindsay, with Quarter Shadow and Figures, would love to send them to Barry for your opinion. Can send them to Paul to send on. So yeah, that should be cool. Yeah. Brilliant. Catball action is next. Same location, Hanbury Arms. I hope this one plays just a little better. So I do apologise. It was kind of struggling just a little bit. But catballs are great. I really like them. And they're quite reasonable.
To be investigating those 2 areas of the cellar, which used to be a morgue. Oh my God, the catball's going off. Catball's going off. You see that? Do you see that? Oh shit! Thank you, Spirit. There are 3 catballs on the carpet, which I placed there earlier on. Can you do that again, please? There you go. Thank you, Spirit. If that is a child, can you please do that again? Can you do that again? It's right next to that creepy jester. It's doing it again. I have some catball interaction.
Because I've heard these clips before, I kind of knowing what's going to come. I actually noticed at the end of that that there seems to be what looks like an orb come round. As you're there at the time, is it something that you think could have been a genuine sort of spirit orb, or do you think it was some dust or something at that point? It's just right at the end before it finishes, just right where the Exploring the Afterlife symbol was, which was. But if you can say a little bit about that, please, that'd be really cool.
Absolutely. So obviously, I'd set these cat balls up on the rug in that room, and they'd been there for some time. So they hadn't gone off at all for hours. And then it was right at the end when I was planning. I was just saying to the audience, guys, I'm going to now take a break. And when I come back, I'm going to be down in the Cellar morgue area. So we're going to leave this vicinity. And I'll come back to this later because it's highly active and we want to talk more to Emily. Cat balls went off and they went off again. The orb, I did see that at the end. I think that's dust. I think as I kind of bent down, I'm moving the airflow, the current, and it was just a small dust particle. But there were other orbs or anomalies seen during the investigation. A lot of the followers that were watching at the time were commenting on that, and they believed that they were possibly, forms of spiritual energy moving through.
Brilliant. Before I get the next one up, because I know there's been people asking questions, so I feel it's only fair for me to ask questions. But Robbie was asking me, is there any paranormal places you've been to, any place you've been on investigations that you think, no, I'm done with that place, I'm not going back to? I might not be getting Robbie's question right, but that's kind of what he was asking.
Yeah. So in season 1 of Help My House is Haunted, we investigated 39 de Grey Street in Hull, and it's the only place that affected me on a massive scale. I came away with attachments and all sorts of emotions that were up in the air, and I vowed never to go back. But 5 years later, I faced my demons and I went back, and I did one night with a public group, and then I did a final night on my own, walking around that building, investigating live. And yeah, it was incredible. It was active. It's almost like the spirits there knew me and said, haha, he's back, let's torment him some more. But I wasn't scared, and I think by doing that I did overcome that fear that I had of going back into that building, because I remember saying afterwards, it's the only place I'll never go back to. I don't care how much I get paid or whatever, I'm not going. Simple as that. But I just think sometimes you've got to face your fears, and yeah, but that's the answer to that one. It was 39 de Grey Street, but there were lots of places that have scared me. The Nuneaton house in series 2, I know we've kind of dealt with that, but that demonic entity, that's pretty frightening. And we encountered another very sinister demonic presence during the new season as well.
Brilliant. Look forward to seeing that. Jade says hi. Claire says hi. There's another question further up, but it's a bit difficult for me to find now. But it was your favourite of the, and do pop it up if I got this wrong, but your favourite of the celebrity Help My House is Haunted.
Oh, they were really good. I loved them all, I'll be honest with you. I think the ones that stand out for me were Alex Best's property, because we just had incredible, phenomenal evidence. I loved Frankie Essex as well, and the reason for that is because at the end of the night, I went down to the brook on my own, and I managed to capture the sound of this baby crying, and then a nursery rhyme, Mary, Mary, which was the nursery rhyme that Frankie was telling us about, and it just brought the whole thing together, and it was pretty crazy. But Martin Roberts' property in Wales was brilliant. It was very haunted, and I captured at least half a dozen grade A EVPs, which some of them didn't make it into the episode due to the fact that we've got to edit everything down to 40 something minutes. So it's never made it in. But honestly, some of the evidence, some of the EVPs that I recorded were just incredible. They were grade A, crisp, clear sounds, and it was a Welsh male voice, so it just added to the whole brilliance of the location.
Good. There's more questions coming up here, but I will move and do talking about great captures. I really like this one. It's the same place, the Hanbury Arms. This time it's a shadow. Really good. Probably might be glitching a bit because there's not any speech in this one. It probably won't affect it too much for everybody watching. But where you've got to look, and if you say where it is after, is right in the doorway at the end. I could play that again for people, maybe with the sound off this time, so it just makes it a little easier. So if you can explain, whilst this is going, where this lock-off actually is.
So this is in the cellar, the basement level of the Hanbury Arms, in what used to be the morgue. So Tracy and Nigel will actually have put some beds in there, so people can stay there. They can choose to sleep there if they want. And there's a lot of objects like, coffins, as you can see. What you can see there on this locked-off camera is something approaching the entrance to this cellar morgue. It is a very large shadow, but to me it looks like a cloak. It looks like it looks like some very heavy cloak, but I have no idea what this kind of angular arm thing looks like. It just appears too abnormal, but it's almost as if it's coming into the room and knows that I'm recording, and then turns around and disappears. But what's amazing is Phil and myself were the only people in the building. We were upstairs having a cup of coffee. I only literally went for a 5-minute break, and I said to all the followers, just keep watching, guys. I'll leave it locked off in here, and I'll come back down and we'll carry on with the experiments. That was it, and I left. So that scared the crap out of me, to be honest with you. It's just incredible. It was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of one of the things that you're kind of glad that you weren't trying to get some sleep then, probably, whilst that was happening.
I slept in that building, but I did not sleep down there. I slept upstairs.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Fantastic. And yeah, they sort of, it seems something that Lindsay has got. So yeah, I'll definitely get that through to you. The other thing I'm going to share here is the final one from this investigation. Let's hope it goes all right. And this is the bedroom, but this does look a different bedroom. Is this the one that you slept in, by any chance?
I don't know which clip this is.
Oh, right. It's cat balls on the bed.
No, I slept in the room next to it at the
I'm
end.
going to place one here and the other one here as well. So these are both on the bed. Oh, you're f***ing joking me! Shadow detector's just going off in the hallway. Can you see that? And the direction it's going off is at the top of the landing, facing away from me. There is a spirit up here. Please come into the room. Can you do that again, please? Can you see that? That's out on the landing. There is a spirit attached to one of these paintings, these portraits. Please tell me your name. Who's the lady in the red?
Kathy.
Kathy. Who's the lady in the painting? Kathy. Is it Catherine? Kathy? These.
So yeah, that's and that just goes to show how good the Alice box is, really. Gillian's saying good night now, just good night and thanks for watching. Cool. So that's that. So was it actually the lady in the painting was actually called Kathy then? That was the.
I don't know, and neither does Tracy and Nigel. I think it was, it was procured from somewhere somehow, but it has this history of being haunted. It was just I didn't actually get to show you in the clip, but it's just a portrait, literally, of a woman with black hair and a red dress. Very beautiful kind of side profile. And yeah, and all I could say is I asked one question and I got that response, and it straight away. And at the same time, I actually captured some EVPs of whispering, so it sounded like a conversation taking place in the room at the same time. So that was interesting. I can't understand what was being said. I just know that they were anomalous sounds.
Great. And Jade says, I strive to capture evidence like this, Barry. How amazing. Before I get on to the Ramen bits of footage that you sent through to me, and I've been to the Ramen a couple of times, and it is truly a amazing place to visit and do an investigation. Great for history and all little. It's like going around a museum. It really is. Yeah, what I was going to say, I've kind of lost my thread there, actually. So yeah, I was just going to sort of say, was there sort of, you were known as the EVP King. You have a very specific way of getting EVPs and to actually have a relationship, I think you say, as well, with your equipment. So if people want to capture more EVPs or more of their ghost investigations, or just wherever they are, how can people go about it?
To be honest with you, you've got to have a good bit of kit. So I've been through 20, 30 different recorders, and the ones I find work for me have been the Olympus VP10, the Olympus VP20, and this Philips Voice Tracer recorder. I have used Zoom recorders and other Sony ones and things, but those are the ones that work for me. The secret to good EVP is that you probably need to have some element of psychic sensitivity to the spirit world. But I close my eyes a lot. I project my thoughts at the same time. I'm really thinking the question, and I'm willing and, how to put it, almost having a dance with the spirits. I'm trying my best to allow them to talk to me. I'm asking. I'm being polite. I'm as genuine as I can possibly be to implore them to speak. And I think you need to do that, because keep in mind that you go to these famously haunted locations and you're asking questions constantly, and there are so many paranormal groups out there that are doing the same thing every bloody weekend. The spirits that are housed there must be sick to death of being asked, can you make a noise? Can you move the object for me? Can you tap someone on the shoulder? The same questions over and over again. Change your questions, think outside the box. Don't ask the same thing over and over again. Allow them to come to you. The best EVPs I've ever caught, especially the Ramen, for example, I've taken my phone and I walked around and I've got there, opening all the doors and turning lights on and off, saying, hi guys, hi spirits, I'm back. It's Barry here. I'm really looking forward to speaking to you guys tonight. And I record my whole walkthrough. When I play it back, I've got so many different responses. The first time I ever did that, it was just incredible. I got, he's here. Can he see us? Hello. And then Barry. And up there. And it was almost, they were like talking to each other and talking to me at the same time. And there were different voices. Blew me away.
Incredible. My dear friend Lynn, Nanny Lynn Sindri, have you ever been face to face with a full-blown apparition, Barry? I saw and spoke to Ruth Ellis and caught her voice on tape, which is incredible. I'll send that through to you, Barry, as well.
See my face, Nanny
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. Well, so a few times, but the one that sticks out and stands out in my mind is when I was at university. I went to bed 2 a.m., got into bed, someone started to kind of do that on my shoulder, and I thought, oh my God, what do you want? Thinking it was one of my flatmates. And I looked, and there was a little girl stood there, and she was semi-transparent. She was made of light, and I could see her features. I could see her eye color, her hair color. I could see everything. She was smiling. She was playing with her hair as well, and she was looking directly at me. So I'm looking at her. She's looking at me. I freak out. I kind of do a flying sidekick off my bed. But yeah, that's the apparition that I saw. at university. But again, when I was 5, I still have that vivid memory of this man walking in with blue jeans, walks into the bedroom, blue jeans and a white t-shirt, looks at me, and then looks away and just walks through a wall. But he was solid. He was as real as you and I, you know. So spirits can manifest, I guess, and show themselves in various different forms. But I think the younger I was, the more vivid those visualizations, those apparitions were. As I've got older, I'm seeing more shadow figures. I see objects moving. I've seen wisps of light, you know, all these kinds of things. I think I've seen a whole plethora of different anomalies, which has just keeps me going, just inspires me to do more, to find more.
Great, and P. Wallace says that's really interesting. I'm learning and specialising in EVP, and do get a lot of responses. I think you're right. You really need to try and connect. Absolutely. Yeah, well, we've got you know, and I saw a full-bodied apparition, only very briefly, fleetingly, and literally I thought it was a person to begin with until I realised that people shouldn't have walked through walls. You know, but I think people convert stuff into reality. So we've got some. We maybe sort of set this up again, because this is the and I hope this plays a little better. So I do apologise, it's been a bit glitchy tonight. I'm going to look into my computer because it's not done it before and see what's going on here. But this seems to be an experiment that was done, and somebody on the team was sort of taken over. And it's, you know, listen to it, actually sounds like it was actually quite a frightening experience. So if you can say about that to begin with, you know, about this particular person, we listened through to the capture then afterwards of the person chatting.
So myself, Phil Measy, my best mate and lead investigator with the Ghost Finder Paranormal Society, we were in a room with public guests in the front room, which is John's bedroom, I guess, because he used to sleep downstairs. Kate Ray, who's one of my team members as well and a great friend, she was trying to do a bit of a meditation exercise where lowering everybody to be a little bit more susceptible. It was quite a risky thing to do. Never in a million years would I've expected Phil, of all people, to be overtaken by spirit. He just suddenly started speaking in a different voice, started speaking and saying something that I couldn't figure out. Now, one of the guests recorded all of it through audio, but she was right at the other end of the room. And I was sat pretty much 2 foot away from Phil, so I quickly grabbed my phone to record the audio myself. Actually, it's on my voice recorder, so I caught the end of it, the last 10 seconds or so. But this is it. Yeah.
Okay, let's play it. Hopefully, it plays all right.
Bad. You think you're pretty, but you're not. You're not. Everyone thinks you get stupid.
Who are we speaking to?
What do you care?
Because it'd be nice to know.
Because there ain't no border here.
There isn't any.
Border?
I don't understand what that is.
Well, you wouldn't, would you?
Can we have Phil back, please?
So yeah, how was Phil after this? And you know, I guess, as you say, pretty shaken up from the whole experience.
He was shaken up. He had to kind of get some air and stuff, but he snapped out of it, but didn't really recall what he was saying or what happened. It was almost like he fell asleep, you know, in a hypnotic state. I don't know, but I've had similar experiences in the past, so I can totally attest to how he felt. But what he's done there is inadvertently channeled a spirit, because he, you know, a medium, a spiritual medium that can channel spirit, they often lower themselves and allow the spirit to come through and talk. Phil has never done that before, and he's not a psychic. He's not someone who's practiced this. So the spirit who wanted to speak just found him as an easy vessel to communicate. Yeah, Dawn there says it sounds like an old female, but I mean, to me, it sounded like a male. And I think further on in the investigation, some of the responses we got, it became apparent that this was a grumpy male. And I think someone that may well have frequented the place when it was an inn, an establishment for drinking. So it was almost like, well, he's still there, this grumpy man. So get lost, that's the kind of mentality.
Yeah, and lots of people say that must have been scary. I didn't mean to get on my boat. Let's have a look. Well, I might as well ask this one. I accidentally got it up, but yeah, it's a great question. What made you get into the paranormal field of things then, Barry? Did you have an experience? Well, if you go back to the beginning, we were talking a little bit about that, but is there anything else that you think would be a good thing to add to that wasn't put at the beginning, Barry?
I guess, back in the 80s, I was born in 79, you can work my age out from that. And back in the 80s, I had experiences. I used to read books, everything I could get my hands on. My mum had a really good collection of books, and a lot of them were to do with mysteries and things like that. So I read those, and then I went down the library. So I became a bit of a bookworm, but I only liked reading the factual books, the non-fiction stuff didn't interest me. So I just learned from that until the invention of the internet computer, and that was it. I kind of became a sponge. So it was a combination of all of my personal experiences, reading things that interested me, and then I guess watching Ghostbusters.
Absolutely, Ghostbusters is a great film. I still absolutely love Ghostbusters.
I think I've lost Paul in Frozen. No.
Oh, am I here? Am I here? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, back.
Oh, worrying then. Lovely. So we got some more captures from the Ramen. So let's go to this.
Who was the man who came through me? Who spoke through me?
Yeah.
What does Borta mean? Are there any demons here? How many imps are here?
How many spirits have we got here with us? How many spirits with us?
So some great responses there from which spirit box was that you were using then, Barry?
That was Echovox. So that was using the phonetic sound banks, no words at all, just parts of sounds. And to get intelligent responses that made sense to the question being asked was pretty incredible. All my guests were party to that, and they were able to hear those. But at the time, sometimes you'll miss them. And that's why I record all my sessions. So when after the investigation, I'll play back the whole thing, and then I go, right, well, there you go. That's the response. And that says yes, or please help us, or whatever. So the reason why we started talking about demons and spirits and negative entities is because we did have experiences and people felt that there were negative things there as well. And I got some validation, I guess, that there were these impish devils, demons, these lower order demons that were there. So lots of spirits were there, at least 10, and some of them said, please help us. And I do believe that we have an obligation as investigators, not just to go into a place and go, yeah, look, I've got great evidence, let's stick it on YouTube for hits. Do your job. Be a human being. They are us. The spirit is just our consciousness. We have to help. If they ask for help, do what you can. Even if you just say, whoever you believe in, dear my angels, please can you help this trapped soul? Can you let them find the way home? Let them be with their loved ones. How would you like it if you were stuck in the ancient Ramen for eternity? Seriously, I just I don't know. We don't know. Until I die, I don't know the answers. But I think that we do have a duty of care to do what's right.
Here, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I'm going to get to people's questions soon, but there's one more thing that I'd like to play, because what would be interesting to know is that when I started doing my research about your investigation and your journey into paranormal field, is that you actually deaf in one ear, you were born deaf, but you actually have higher sense of hearing in the other ear. Now, I want to make sure that it was the stuff from your investigation play, but I do have one EVP, well, two back-to-back that I'd love to play to you now. They were captured at the Cafe Rene in Gloucester, which they don't really allow investigations there anymore, but I was lucky to go in there several years back, and it was basically a mini disc recorder, and I love mini disc. I'm really old school. I thought we would get some great EVPs using mini discs. Cranked up to the loudest volume. There's a small group of us. The microphone was round the corner, and to me it sounds like a young child speaking. And I can say what I think it says afterwards, but I just play both of them, so you can tell which one's the other because you just hear the sound dip down a little bit, and that's just the indicator that it goes from one to the other. So I can play this to you and get your view on it. Here we go.
Just coming round to get me back from it.
I'll take it. Alright.
So that's those. Do you need me to play them again, Barry?
No, I can't. Because of the sound quality, I can't make out exactly what's being said. There's definitely a male voice there. I think there's potentially two, and they are. Or the spirit is talking. It's talking at you. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I think if you've got the raw file, send it over. I'll see if I can clean it up a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, I've got the raw file on mini disc, and I'll put it as probably a WAV file or something, because it would be just much higher. Because this was converted down to MP3 to then go back on there again. I just will play it one more time, just the first one, because to me the first is like a child's voice, and it sounds like he's coming Victor. It's her, be brave.
Hello.
What are you doing?
Just coming round to get me back from it.
So that's it. She's coming Victor. It's her, be brave. That's what it sounds like to me anyway. But I think if you listen to the actual, because there's a lot of hiss in the back, because I cranked everything right the way up to the top. But I almost missed it first time because I literally thought that it was a person talking. I thought, no, that's not one of us. So yeah, I'll send through the file, and thank you for that, Barry. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, brilliant EVP, definitely.
Brilliant, thank you. So I'll start asking some people's questions, but what would be really cool now is, because we saw about your early TV career, your journey into Help My House is Haunted a bit more, and some of the, because you've actually had Chris Fleming helped you at one point to help get rid of an attachment. So your journey to Help My House is Haunted and this attachment story, which would be really cool to hear.
Yeah, so with Help My House is Haunted, it was over 6 years ago now when it all started. I literally got an email out of the blue saying, would you be interested in a paranormal TV show? And I said, sounds good, let me know more. But it took a while, and the development of that was 18 months, believe it or not. And the reason for that is because they needed to get the full commission, and there were two production companies involved. There's My Entertainment from the USA with Zach Bagans, and there was back-to-back productions here in Brighton. So I just left it. It was on the back burner, and all of a sudden I just sent my kind of show reel to them, and apparently Zach said he's great, and he picked me as being the investigator for Help My House is Haunted, which originally was meant to be called something else, believe it or not. It was going to be called God, what was it going to be called? I've totally forgotten now. Something. I'll come back to you. I'm going to find it.
Yeah.
It's on my desktop. It's on my email. Anyway, so originally it was going to be called something completely different before the working title Help My House is Haunted was developed. But it was me, and then they picked Sandy Lacdal from France. And they asked me, said, Barry, do you know any psychics, mediums, specifically in the USA or based over here? That's fine. And I kind of gave a list of a few. next thing I know, they had found Chris Fleming. And I remember speaking to Chris via email to purchase a K2 meter off his store many years before. So we'd never communicated before that. So we spent around 6 months, myself, Chris and Sandy, building a bond via Zoom, online, emails, chatting, WhatsApp, whatever. So we talked a lot, developed a bit of a connection, and found out what each other's strengths were and how we were going to kind of play this, because this was a brand new concept and I'd never done that or this kind of work before on screen. So it was a massive challenge, but one that I welcomed, and it just flew from there. But we're talking about this attachment. Well, it was after series 2, and I just walked away from filming with a very heavy burden. You know, I felt like I was a different person. I had my mentality was different. I felt physically drained. I was exhausted, and I just knew that I just brought something with me. Chris helped massively. I spoke to him on a daily basis, and we still speak now. You know, and he told me how best to resolve it. You know, with the power of prayer, protection, and also one of the best things he said to me, which sticks in my head: change up your routine. Do something to throw them off your scent. If you get up at 6 a.m. and go for a run at 7, go for a run at 8. If you eat at 5 p.m., eat at 4 p.m. Go to sleep at different times. Do everything you can to change your routine, which changes and alters your well-being and your auric field. This loosens their grip. And when they become loose, you can get rid of them. It works. Trust me, I did it. But Chris has helped me, you know, on the phone before when I had issues here in my house. You know, we had impish activity, stuff moving, falling through the attic, and all sorts of scary stuff. My little girls were terrified. So I phoned him up, got him a loudspeaker, and I said, right, we're going to bless my house now. And I went through, he said the prayers for protection, the prayers for the dead. I smudged the house and I put holy water everywhere, and I just did it with intent, and it just worked. Yeah. So, yeah, I owe a lot to Chris.
Brilliant. I was going to get this up, and that's good, yeah, that he really helped you through that. Oh, one other thing, I think you said once you heard after you finished, maybe it was a Zoom call, like a laugh at the end of a call or something. So was that after the attachment had just left you or something?
This is after we cleansed my property and of these imps. Okay, and they were is an imp infestation, and we both heard on the other end of the call. Chris and I both heard this non-human laugh. It was a laugh of mocking, and yeah, well, we knew what it was immediately, but we both heard it, and it was just amazing, because you used to get whole cross lines, you know, in the old-fashioned phones, but you don't get that anymore. And so to hear almost a cross line type of thing was just incredible.
Natasha and Annette's here as well, and another Carol and Lucy. Natasha says, my father came through on this investigation, Barry. It's talking about I was blown away. Do you find, either on Help My House or anything else that you're involved with, that people's relatives come through when they're doing investigations and look in a different direction?
Yeah, they do. I mean, Paul, you probably are aware of this, because for anyone watching this, Paul does appear on season 4 of Help My House is Haunted. But we're not allowed to say any more than that. But the episode that you were involved in, the client's relative did come through, and it was a very interesting twist to the whole narrative, and it kind of gave us a different avenue and a different perspective on things, which is great. So that does happen. So yeah, Natasha Palmer there is quite right. When the ancient Ramen, during that investigation, her deceased father did actually communicate with her, and it does happen. People have their own attachments and their own kind of strong spiritual presences. We're all protected in some way, shape or form, whether it's by relatives or whether it's by angels and higher beings. And they do make themselves known from time to time. And they've got a message for you. They're going to come through in any way, shape or form they can.
Brilliant. Let's have a look. Yeah, so Mama, I cannot wait to see the new season. I have seen your post on Facebook and said there's going to be things that make you cry, things that make you sort of scared. So it sounds like it's going to be a great season, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it when it's on.
Yeah, there's 15 episodes, guys. Season 4 has 15, not 12, 15, and which is great. A lot more work for us, but you know what? I loved every minute of it. And the episodes, you know, some will make you cry, some will make you smile, some will make you terrified, some will put you, basically you're going to turn the lights out and go, I can't do this ever again. Some of them are going to make you think, hang on a minute, that makes no sense. Now I'm just totally confused. Why? Because we're always finding new things and things that don't make sense that other people can start working and developing on. You know, when we introduced elementals to TV, honestly, I think we were the first program that ever did it. Season 2 or whatever it was of Help My House on, we had pixies. Chris and I both saw something that was very real, and now I totally believe that we are surrounded by interdimensional beings, whether they are just human consciousness, spirits, a residual ghost, or elemental energies, and sometimes interdimensional beings that we'd call demonic forces, and they are just all around at all times.
Amazing. I was going to actually say, and I realise we're rapidly approaching the 90 minutes. I wanted to give you one more shout out so people can also get to see you on your Facebook and join you on your public investigations as well, or other ones that you've arranged. But I think you said that you saw this with Chris, and was it a beaver? It kind of looks something like a beaver. So if you could explain the whole what it was like, where you were, and that would be really cool.
So it's in Devon. It's outside the old schoolhouse, which we called the Pixie House. I'm stood facing Chris. We were having a chat about the whole case and whatever off camera. And for my peripheral vision, I'm saying my left side and his right side, we both saw this small creature that looked like a beaver on two legs, kind of humanistic. It had hair that was short and slick back and a bit of a snout. And its arms were forward, and it ran from the garden wall in through the brickwork of the house, like it could just pass through like a ghost, I guess. But it was very real, it was very solid. I don't know what I thought. Hang on a minute, I've taken something. There's got to be something. I've drunk something that's given me hallucinogenic properties. I don't know, but we both saw it at the same time, so we both commented on it, and I then filmed him on my phone, and vice versa. So we had this to kind of relive that moment, discussing exactly what happened and how we felt. So amazing, incredible first experience I ever had with something that I would consider an elemental, and that's not the last. So wow, just a crazy, amazing experience.
We're coming to the end too quickly at this, and I realise there's a load of people that have asked questions as well throughout this, and I do apologise to you that I haven't had a chance to mention and ask your questions too, but so that people can again get to know where to. I mean, you're easy to find on the internet, but if you can give a shout out to different things that you do and how people can get in contact and join your pages and things.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I just want to say, thank you guys for tuning in and watching. A lot of my followers are already on here. You know, we've got Sean, Claire there, I can see. So thanks, guys, for watching. But, you know, if you spell my name right, you can find me. I'm pretty much the only person in the world spelled B-A-R-R-I and my surname G-H-A-I. So look me up on Facebook. I have a public page on Facebook. And if you want to become one of my VIP supporters, just hit the subscribe button, and you'll get a separate group that you can be part of, which is where I do my lives and you know, give people a bit more of an insight into me. So Twitter, Instagram, my YouTube isn't very up to date, but I do occasionally post videos on there. But yeah, if you want to find me, just type barriguide.com and get my website.
Really cool, and it's great you get to know a little bit more about you through the website, and you get to see when Help My House is Haunting isn't on TV or Discovery Plus. You get to enjoy his investigations on Facebook as well, which is highly recommended. What I'm going to say, and people are saying 10 more minutes, please. If you could re-experience anything paranormal that you've had or been through or captured again, because it was so amazing for you to experience at that moment when it happened, what would that be?
That's a really good question. I've had so many paranormal experiences that I think are amazing, but there are a couple that stand out. One is definitely when I was at university and that little girl appeared. Instead of freaking out and fly kicking her, I would have probably wanted to call out and said, "Hello, who are you? Can you speak to me?" Done something other than go, "Oh my God, there's a ghost." That kind of stupid mentality. But that's retrospective, I guess. But also, many years ago, maybe 10 to 12 years ago, I investigated a farmhouse in Sussex. And I walked into the bedroom and I had a K2 meter in my hand. And as I walked in, the room was thick with static. I'm talking thick to the point where it felt like I walked into water because it went into my eyes, my nose, my ears, my mouth. And it was just like walking into your old TV screen that used to rub the fuzz off when you were a kid. And it was that. And it was the first manifestation of this female entity that was in the house. Unfortunately, it was short-lived. As soon as it was there and I started to go, "Oh my God, I can pull it out of my nose," it was like it was stuck inside me. The K2 was going crazy. I had huge spikes in EMF. And then all of a sudden it just dissipated. And I think I would have wanted to record that and use so many different meters, recorded and logged the data, because I believe we would have learned a lot scientifically from that one experience, because it's a very rare thing to happen. I kind of would have wanted to relive that again.
Really good. Cowabunga says, "What a wonderful, fun interview. Barry is a fabulous, compassionate investigator and an inspiration." Thank you, Cowabunga.
Thank you.
Next week, we have Neil from Haunted Antiques. So that should be a really, really good one, really, really fascinating. Is there anything else within the last 2 minutes that I haven't asked you that you think would be an ideal thing to finish on?
Well, there's a lot of comments and questions there. I'm sorry, obviously I can't answer them all, but thank you guys for watching. And if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to contact me. Go to my website, you can email me, or drop me a DM.
Brilliant, absolutely. Thank you everybody that has watched all your comments, and as I said before, I do apologise for those that I haven't read out tonight. You're right to just stay on afterwards, literally just 2 or 3 minutes. I won't keep you because I realise that you've already spent a good portion of your night here, but just instead of like, right, that's it, bye, and everything, so just sort of finish off for just a couple of minutes afterwards. Cool. Thank you everybody. I shall see you next week. Whatever you're doing, whether it's day or night, have an outstanding one and see you soon.
Good night, everyone.